Welcome to our channel, A Person Life Cycle. Every life is shaped by the people we choose to walk beside us. Some simply pass through our lives. Some leave a lesson. And a precious few become part of who we are. But not every friend should know your deepest thoughts. One of the greatest mistakes we can make is believing that every friend deserves the same level of trust. Friendship is valuable, but wisdom lies in knowing who deserves access to your inner world. Chapter 1. Why Human Beings Need Friends. Have you ever wondered why we naturally want friends? The answer is simple. Human beings are made to connect with other people. Long ago, our ancestors lived in small groups. They hunted together, protected each other, and shared food. A person who lived alone had a much lower chance of surviving. Over thousands of years, our brains adapted to value friendship and cooperation. Even though we no longer have to hunt for food, our need for connection has never disappeared. This is why spending time with good friends often makes us feel happier and less stressed. Scientists have discovered that when we enjoy positive relationships, our brains release chemicals like oxytocin, sometimes called the bonding hormone. This hormone helps us feel safe, trusted, and emotionally connected. Friendship isn't just something nice to have, it's actually good for our mental and emotional health. Psychologist Abraham Maslow explained this in his famous hierarchy of needs. He believed that after our basic needs such as food, water, and safety are met, our next important need is love and belonging. In other words, we all want to feel accepted. We want people who care about us and make us feel that we belong. But here's something many people misunderstand. Having many friends doesn't always mean you're less lonely. Today, someone can have thousands of followers on social media and still feel alone. Why? Because our hearts don't measure friendship by numbers. They measure it by trust, understanding, and genuine care. Psychologists explain that there are two kinds of connection. Social companionship, people you enjoy spending time with. Emotional intimacy, people you trust enough to share your deepest thoughts and feelings. Both are valuable, but emotional intimacy is much rarer. Research also shows that we can only maintain a small number of truly close relationships. While we may know hundreds of people, only a few become part of our inner circle. This teaches us an important lesson. Not every friend should become your confidant. Some friends are great companions. Some encourage us to grow. And only a very small number earn the privilege of knowing our deepest fears, dreams, and struggles. Understanding this difference helps us build healthier friendships and avoid disappointment. Chapter 2. The Psychology of Different Types of Friends. Psychologists often describe relationships as serving different psychological functions. Each type of friend contributes something unique to our emotional lives. The companion friend. These are the people with whom we share activities and enjoyable experiences. We work together, study together, travel together, or pursue common hobbies. These friendships fulfill our need for social belonging. They reduce feelings of isolation and provide opportunities for laughter and recreation. However, because these relationships are often built around circumstances rather than deep emotional disclosure, they may fade naturally when life circumstances change. This is not failure. It reflects how many friendships are formed. The supportive friend. Supportive friends become especially important during periods of stress. Psychological research consistently shows that emotional support reduces the harmful effects of chronic stress. Simply knowing that someone is available can lower anxiety and increase resilience. Interestingly, supportive friends do not always solve our problems. Often, their greatest contribution is their willingness to listen without immediately judging or trying to fix everything. This kind of emotional validation helps regulate our emotions and reminds us that we are not facing difficulties alone. The honest friend. One of the most valuable psychological concepts in friendship is constructive honesty. Many people prefer friends who always agree with them because agreement feels comfortable. Yet personal growth often comes from respectful disagreement. An honest friend provides feedback that challenges our blind spots while still communicating care and respect. Psychologists refer to this as psychological safety, a relationship in which we feel secure enough to hear difficult truths without fearing rejection. These friends protect us not by avoiding conflict, but by confronting problems with compassion. The competitive friend. Competition is a natural part of human psychology. Healthy competition can inspire growth. Unhealthy competition appears when another person's success threatens our own self-esteem. Social comparison theory, proposed by psychologist Leon Festinger, explains that people naturally compare themselves with others to evaluate their own abilities and worth. While some comparison motivates improvement, excessive comparison may produce jealousy, resentment, or hidden rivalry. A friend who constantly compares achievements, minimizes your accomplishments, or quietly hopes for your failure may unintentionally damage your emotional well-being. Recognizing this pattern allows us to maintain healthy boundaries without necessarily ending every friendship. Chapter 3. The Best Confidant. Psychology of Deep Trust. Among all friendships, the role of a confidant is perhaps the most psychologically significant. A confidant is someone with whom we can safely share our fears, failures, hopes, and uncertainties. Psychologists describe trust as developing through consistency rather than isolated moments. Trust grows when someone repeatedly demonstrates honesty, reliability, empathy, and discretion over time. This process is gradual because our brains are designed to protect us from emotional harm. When someone proves trustworthy repeatedly, our nervous system becomes more willing to relax around them. Several psychological qualities define an ideal confidant. Emotional intelligence. Psychologist Daniel Goleman popularized the concept of emotional intelligence. A confidant with high emotional intelligence can recognize emotions, understand them, and respond appropriately. Instead of immediately offering advice, they first seek to understand your experience. Feeling understood often provides greater comfort than receiving quick solutions. Empathy. Empathy differs from sympathy. Sympathy says, "I feel sorry for you." Empathy says, "I understand what you're experiencing." Empathy creates emotional safety because it allows people to express vulnerability without fear of criticism. Confidentiality. Trust depends upon confidentiality. Once personal information is repeatedly shared without permission, the brain learns that vulnerability is unsafe. Repairing broken trust is possible, but it usually requires sustained evidence of changed behavior over time. Healthy boundaries. A true confidant respects personal boundaries. They understand that friendship does not require controlling another person's life. Healthy relationships balance closeness with respect for individual autonomy. Ironically, relationships with clear boundaries often become stronger because both people feel emotionally secure rather than emotionally trapped. Chapter 4. Becoming the friend others can trust. People often ask, "How do I find better friends?" Psychology suggests beginning with a different question. Am I becoming the kind of friend others can safely trust? Human relationships are reciprocal. While we cannot control how others behave, we can cultivate qualities that encourage healthy, lasting friendships. Practice active listening. Research shows that people feel closer to those who genuinely listen rather than dominate conversations. Active listening involves paying full attention, asking thoughtful questions, and resisting the urge to interrupt or immediately offer solutions. People remember how understood they felt more than how much advice they received. Be consistent. Trust is built through predictable behavior. Keeping promises, arriving when you say you will, and remaining dependable during difficult times gradually strengthen relationships. Consistency creates emotional security. Show vulnerability wisely. Psychologist Brené Brown argues that vulnerability is essential for meaningful connection. However, vulnerability should be shared gradually with people who have already demonstrated trustworthiness. Healthy relationships grow through mutual openness rather than one-sided emotional exposure. Encourage growth. The best friendships are not based solely on comfort. They encourage personal development. A true friend celebrates your successes, supports your struggles, and lovingly challenges behaviors that may harm your future. Such friendships create both emotional comfort and personal transformation. Conclusion. Psychology teaches us that friendship is not simply about having people around us. It is about forming relationships that satisfy our deepest need for belonging, trust, and emotional security. Some friends bring joy. Some offer support. Some teach valuable lessons. A very small number become trusted confidants. The quality of our closest relationships often shapes our emotional health, resilience, and even our sense of identity. Ultimately, the search for a trustworthy confidant begins not with finding the perfect friend, but with becoming a person worthy of another's trust. When we cultivate empathy, honesty, consistency, and respect, we create the conditions for friendships that can endure life's greatest challenges and become one of its richest sources of meaning. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, make sure to smash that like, subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you never miss our weekly uploads. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.